Christmas, everybody! Oh, I guess I slept through Christmas. Alright, picture this. You walk into a Walmart to buy a gift for your nephew, and suddenly you realize you know nothing about your nephew and have probably never met him before. What do you buy him? Well, I know you like SpongeBob. Plug-and Plays by Jack Specific were everywhere in the early 2000s. I should know, I have one, and coincidentally, it might have been the first video game I ever played. I mean, after all, these were perfect gifts for parents to buy their kids if they didn't know what else to get them. They were cheap, usually included multiple games, and were licensed. So even if these games were hot garbage, you can't go wrong with Dora the Explorer. Now, the one surviving plug-and-play from my childhood just so happens to be the subject of this video. Now that's pretty lucky. I had no idea what else I was going to talk about for the next 6 minutes. Oh, good old SpongeBob. You've dominated Nickelodeon for the past 20 years, keeping kids like me glued to their TV screaming, "Oh, yes, nautical nonsense is something I wish!" There just wasn't anything else like it, and dare I say it, SpongeBob made quite a splash into pop culture. Woo! That deserves a knee slap. Ow! And of course, his influence would lead to the creation of this fine specimen of a console, the holy grail of gaming, the SpongeBob Plug and Play. They made his nose a joystick. Well, without further ado, let's get right to it, and getting right to it is as simple as that. All you gotta do is plug and play it.
Low, shawty got low, yeah. Low, shawty got low. She had the apple bottom jeans and the boots with the fur, yeah. The whole damn club, they were looking at her. What? She hit the floor. Low, shawty got low. She hit the floor. Low, shawty got low. Low, shawty got low. Low, shawty got low.
So the SpongeBob Plug and Play includes 5 games for the price of 1. What a bargain. They're each simple, pick up and play, not very deep ROMs that hold no correlation to each other whatsoever. No, seriously, they could have thrown a Breakout clone into this package and I can guarantee no one would notice. Anyway, the first game is SpongeBob's Bubble Pop. It's a Breakout clone. I refuse to notice! SpongeBob's stuck in purgatory, and he needs to use this pearl to pop the bubbles that are blocking his path to heaven. But whatever you do, do not let that pearl fall. It makes SpongeBob quite upset. There are, of course, various power-ups to aid SpongeBob's spiritual conquest. Pretty standard stuff, really. This one makes SpongeBob's head look so funny that I died. Crap! I honestly have no idea how long this game goes on for. I got pretty bored once the developers got lazy and started making letters out of the bubbles. Like, yeah, I get it, it spells SpongeBob, but he has a long-ass name, so this isn't fun. It's like purgatory. Moving on to Sandy's surf adventure, I can distinctly remember absolutely sulking at this game when I was little, and guess what? Old habits die hard. It's a Gradius clone, where you play as Sandy Cheeks, who goes around shooting nuts at various sea creatures. This feels illegal. Honestly, it's not that exciting, and no, that's not just me being mad cause bad, this is genuinely the most forgettable game on this plug and play. Both the environment and enemies are bland, and Sandy isn't all that fun to control either. There's also, like, no music, and I know this is a problem with all of these games, but I don't know, it just feels super especially eerie in this one. Invasion of the Hooks may be one of the most bizarre games in this collection. I mean, just look, they spelled colors wrong in the instructions. Squidward, Sandy, Patrick, and later Mr. Krabs and Gary find themselves in quite the predicament. They're caught standing underneath some hooks that are slowly descending upon them. Luckily, their good friend SpongeBob's here to throw Krabby Patties directly into said hooks, which wards them off for some reason. Some hooks require multiple Krabby Patties to go away, and the aim of the game is to manage which hooks you prioritize warding off first. None of this makes any sense. Why would throwing a sandwich at a hook make it go away? I want some realism in my SpongeBob game. And to make matters worse, if one of your friends gets caught and you save them, they don't move out of the way. They continue standing there in perfect position for the next hook to scoop them up. Like, Jesus Christ, get below a roof or something. Don't just stand there. Maybe
they're in purgatory.
Next up is Patrick and the maze. All of Patrick's friends have managed to get lost in this maze, and it's up to Patrick to traverse through it and rescue them. I always liked this game when I was younger. It's very Zelda-esque with the way Patrick moves and the treasure chests that are fun to collect and act as mini checkpoints to keep you from getting lost. Jellyfish will randomly spawn in too, threatening your safety, and by using Patrick's jellyfishing net, you can capture them and launch them at other jellyfish. This feels illegal. And of course, once you actually find one of your friends, instead of just shutting up and following you out of the maze, they make you play a mini game, which typically range from Simon Says to, basketball.
That's quite some nautical nonsense.
After you've saved all your friends, the game prompts you to have a nice day. Next up is the Super Chum Bucket. It's essentially a Donkey Kong clone, and it controls just as poorly. As SpongeBob, you have to hobble your way up to Plankton while avoiding the various obstacles he throws onto the screen. It's pretty straightforward, and actually one of the most well thought out games in this collection. While SpongeBob might control like he has too much sand in his boots, the levels themselves each offer a new challenge that keeps the game quite interesting. Now, does this one game save the entire collection? No, but it did keep me engaged long enough to see it all the way through, mostly due in part to the fact that I could never beat this game when I was younger and my overinflated ego wouldn't let that stand. I went through it all, dodging each and every painstakingly predictable obstacle Plankton threw at me with style. What I couldn't predict, however, was that the console itself soon began to fight back. The screen became glitchier and glitchier as I persisted on. I knew a hard reset was needed to fix the issue, but I was unwilling to throw the game. I had come so far at this point, nothing could stop me. I will see it through to the end that ever so eluded my younger self. Let it be known that I will beat, no, conquer the Super Chum Bucket. Well, that was the SpongeBob Plug and Play, and like most plug and plays, it's mediocre at best. With that said, I can't really recommend it to anyone on the account of it not only being mediocre, but also for the fact that it just exploded on me. Like, that was pretty scary. My house could have burnt down. Ow! Uh-oh.